Let's talk some Florida Gator recruiting. I got to find out what is going on in Gainesville since the firing of Billy Napier. We're going to talk some recruiting. Who's staying? Who's going? That's what we're talking about today with Corey Bender of Gators Online. But before we get to that, guys, make sure you hit subscribe the next couple weeks. It's going to get crazy. Recruiting is about to get crazy, so make sure you guys are subscribed to the Rivals Recruits channel. All right, let's bring in Corey Bender. Last night in Jacksonville, the Gators fall 24-20, but they have not quit. They played hard, but we're not here to talk football. We're going to talk a little recruiting. Zero decommits. Zero decommitments for the Florida Gators since the firing of Billy Napier. We've seen that kind of happen at LSU as well. Corey,
Yeah.
what do you credit to Florida being able to hold on to the recruits despite a coaching change?
Yeah, I think it's a few things, Josh. I think the one thing, it's a very close group. I mean, all the commits in the class, they're all in a group chat. They're a very, very close group. And I think Will Griffin, the quarterback commit in Florida's class, he's a guy that committed early on. His father went to Florida, several family members. He's a Gator through and through. So he's obviously kind of the head face in that class, really kind of keeping everyone together as far as why you should stick with Florida, why we should wait this out. So when speaking with a lot of Florida commits, a lot of those kids point to him. But there's other guys like Jalen McCoy as well. There's a lot of these guys that said, even after Billy Napier was fired, they said, obviously Billy Napier played a big role. The coaching staff played a role, but, I'm committed to Florida. And obviously it's more than just the coaches that I'm excited about when it comes to them. But I think another thing too, Josh, there's two other things. I think with Lane Kiffin being rumored for the job, I think with what type of job Florida is, the class they have, I think some of them are kind of waiting out to see, man, if they get Lane Kiffin, a lot of them off the record kind of said, hey, Lane Kiffin's the guy I want. That was the most popular pick when asking the commits who they wanted as the next coach. So I think that plays a big role too. But I think one last thing too, Billy Napier, obviously the results weren't on the field, but when it comes to building that culture, you really can't fault him for that. I think the culture was always good. All the kids, when it came to official visit weekends, spending time around the staff, all the kids, raved about that aspect when it came to him, but obviously the results weren't right on the field, and that's why they had to make a change. But if you even look back to last fall when they announced that Billy Napier was staying, you saw the big swarm of commits that came in. A lot of kids believed in him.
Yeah.
So I think overall they have the right kids, the right type of culture committed within that class. So, but when you point to that, the possibility of Lane Kiffin or another coach, and then how close this group is, I'm really not too surprised that they haven't any decommitments. But again, we still have about another month left before signing day, and something could happen.
No decommitments, but that hasn't stopped guys from looking around, and who can blame them?
Yep.
There's plenty of reasons to look around. You never know what the future holds, and one of them is running back Carson Baker. He's out of the state of Georgia, committed to Florida over the summer, has been solidly committed, although there are some rumors. So now that Billy Napier is gone, who is involved with Carson Baker?
Yeah, with Baker, in recent months, Josh, even before Billy Napier was fired, he was a guy that was kind of looking around and taking visits. For a while, Kentucky, South Carolina, and Florida State were the main schools. But in recent weeks, he's told me Florida State's really not in the mix, still keeping tabs on Kentucky and South Carolina. But the one school right now is Georgia Tech. The in-state school, not far from where he lives in Fairburn, Georgia. With how Georgia Tech's playing, obviously there's a lot of buzz within that program, and obviously with how highly ranked he is, he's one of those guys who could probably come in and play right away. So a lot of these in-state kids in Georgia, they're keeping tabs on the Yellow Jackets. It couldn't be more perfect timing for Brent Key's staff. They're playing on the field, a lot of job openings. So a lot of these kids are kind of keeping the door cracked open when it comes to other schools. And when you look at the state of Georgia from A to Z, it's a talented state. And a lot of those kids are committed to programs that recently had coaching changes. So right now it's perfect timing for them. And I think with Baker, he's another one that's staying committed for now, kind of going to wait to see what Florida does. But there's no doubt the Yellow Jackets are kind of the team buzzing with him right now, when for several months before it was Florida State. But right now the Yellow Jackets, that's the school we're focusing on.
Yeah, the Jackets are buzzing, Corey, that's for sure. Now, Florida currently has the number 13 ranked class. So despite the departure of Billy Napier and all the upheaval there, 13th ranked class in America. But like we said, guys are looking around. Who else do you have your eye on that, hey, you're watching, he could be taking visits here?
Yeah, I think Chancellor Campbell, a guy out of St. Petersburg, Lakewood, 6'8", 300 pounds, a guy that I think a lot of schools covet. Georgia was a school in recent months that we've been eyeing the most. They finished second to Florida over the summer, but he did take an official visit to North Carolina 2 weeks ago, and that really came out of the blue. That was his one bye week during the season, and he chose to go to Chapel Hill instead of taking an unofficial visit to Georgia. So
Hmm.
I think he's one we're keeping eyes on. He's admitted that, hey, I need a plan B. I need something to fall back on in case, something doesn't go right or someone maybe he doesn't want for the head coach. I think tight end Kiku Amawa, another kid, he used to attend IMG Academy, and that played a big role with him going to Florida because he could visit so frequently. Now he's back home in Hawaii. He just took an official visit to Washington. And another kid that said, hey, man, he told the Florida staff, I need to have backup options. And, Auburn was another school, obviously, but, with them making a coaching change today, I think that probably crosses them out. But Washington's a school to monitor for him. And I think Hezzy Kent, he's another one, a 6'6", 300-pound tight end, athlete, offensive lineman, whatever you want to call him. A lot of schools have different opinions on him as a prospect.
Yeah.
But Florida State's the school's recruiting him still. Miami. He actually visited about 3-4 weeks ago and said, I took my visits, but I'm here back at Florida, and this is where I want to be. And then, not too long after, that's when they fired Billy Napier. So he hasn't taken many visits in recent weeks, but he has been a guy that's still flirting with different schools. If you go on his social media, he's always posting recruiting graphics from other schools, kind of showing that he's at least listening to programs. And I think the other one, Josh, that we're definitely monitoring too is probably Tyler Chikiem, the offensive tackle, another kid out of the state of Georgia who I believe could be the most talented kid in the class, man. He's a Rivals top 100 prospect, high upside offensive tackle. And, I think right now Ole Miss is a school still pursuing him. He took an OV to North Carolina the same weekend that Chancellor Campbell went there. So for Florida, they had two of their offensive tackle commits in Chapel Hill that same weekend. But from what I'm hearing, North Carolina really isn't as much of a threat. Nebraska and Ole Miss are probably the two schools that we're monitoring the most right now. But another one who I know they love Florida as a whole, but they're still kind of in flux, kind of waiting to see what they do. And with Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin's a coach that's one of the head coaches in contact with their family. So that will be very interesting. If Lane Kiffin did come to Florida, I think that would greatly increase Florida's chances of hanging on to him. And that'd be huge considering what type of talent he is.
Yeah. Absolutely. So who is doing the recruiting in Gainesville? Like somebody is reaching out to these commits. They're all staying solidly committed. And also I saw, they want to bring in some commits for another home game as well. So who's actively recruiting for the Gators?
I mean, that's the one thing, Josh, too. I put this on our message board. I mean, all the coaches on the staff that, obviously they're retained for now, besides Billy Napier, but they're all actively recruiting these guys on a daily basis. I talked to most of the commits, and they said nothing's changed as far as the Florida's position coaches. CJ Hester out of Cocoa, Jerron Wilson's the corners coach. He's reaching out every day and saying, hey, it's part of the business, and hey, so you should still come to Florida. It's a great school. And I think that really shows the type of culture they built. A lot of these coaches have been upfront and honest with them, saying, hey, we don't know if we'll be here next year, but Florida's still a great spot for you. You're going to get a great education. It's SEC. And I think that also kind of ties into what you first asked me, what's keeping the class together. I think this class really respects how genuine they are, this coaching staff, just saying, they're not just kind of lying and saying, hey, there's a good chance we'll be here, and they really don't know. There's been, hey, man, we don't know if we'll be here, but this is a great spot for you. So I think that's been a big message, and that's all the position coaches from Rob Sale, Jonathan DeCoster along the O-line to the secondary. And all those coaches with the recruiting staff, other than Billy Napier, everyone's still there in Gainesville. They're doing their job, and they're actively recruiting. I mean, even for the Florida-Georgia game, Florida was considered the home team. They had about 4 or 5 commits in the stands. Still there supporting Florida when they easily could have went somewhere else that weekend. So for right now, I mean, it's business as usual until, they figure out who the next head coach is going to be.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of figuring out who the next head coach is going to be, how's the coaching search going to impact December 3rd signing day? So the first Wednesday in December, right after the season ends. So Florida State and Florida will play. And then 4 days later is going to be signing day for the 2026 class. How's that going to be impacted by the coaching search?
It's going to be interesting, man. That's why I'm kind of surprised in a way that no one has decommitted, just because the timing is not ideal at all. I mean, you would think with Florida, with Billy Gonzalez being interim coach, we still have a few games left. Florida State games, I believe, on the 29th.
Right.
And I'm not sure if they're going to have a hire in before that. I mean, in a perfect scenario, I think Florida would love that. But, I mean, it's not going to be much time at all. Because, in-home visits, too, you don't have the traditional in-home visits at the end of the cycle like they used to.
Right. Yeah,
where you can kind of go in and really sell
weeks of that.
Yeah, you could go in there real quick with one visit and just kind of shut it down. So I think right now with Florida and a lot of these schools is really just keeping these guys in the class. I think as far as other prospects that are uncommitted or flipping, to me, it's a wash. I mean, maybe you can flip a guy late that Florida's just the biggest offer. It's a high upside guy that maybe he's kind of under recruited. But other than that, I think it's really keep the guys in the class and then focus on the portal. I've had some people say, hey, do you just kind of punt away this class? Because, it's going to be hard to keep them, which I think Florida, I mean, they're ranked 13. Some people have different opinions on the class. They have a lot of blue chip talent, a lot of guys. No 5-stars, but I still think it's a solid class. So I think whoever the next coach is really just maintaining, keeping those guys you want, and then really kind of turning all attention to the portal. I think that's the biggest thing, because as far as trying to convince or flip other guys, I just don't think there's going to be enough time.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. This isn't a problem. I'm not singling out UF here. I mean, this is something that we're all going to witness. I mean, we've never seen signing day be on December 3rd and see the coaching carousel doing what it's doing. There's going to be a bunch of programs that are in the middle of a coaching search when this December 3rd signing day comes around. So we'll see how it all works out. We've never been here before, guys. So Gator fans,
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be something, Corey. It'll be something fun.
Yeah.
That might not be the exact
fun
word
/
for it.
stressful. I don't know what we want to call it, but yeah, it's going to be a mixture of a few.
It'll be
emotions.
in precedent. Precedent will be set. We'll see if this works. Maybe they change the timeline on everything for next year, because people are like, hey, how are we supposed to recruit when we got coaching searches? But the date's been moved. I mean, prior to this, early signing day used to fall around December 15th, December 19th. Somewhere kind of in that range. So now we're all the way up to December 3rd. Gator fans, talk to us. No decommitments yet. Why do you think that is? And how much of this class do you think the Gators can hold on to? Talk to us. Comment section below.